Welcome back to our AWS AI Practitioner series. In our previous episodes, we learned about the responsible AI and why organizations must build AI systems that are trustworthy and secure, transparent, and beneficial to the society. Today, we will explore four important concepts that are form of the foundation of responsible AI. Okay, AI ethics, bias, fairness, and explainability. So these are the foundational responsible AI. So as AI becomes increasingly involved in hiring or healthcare or banking or educational systems or even legal decisions, ensuring these systems behave responsibly is more important than ever. Let's dive into it. So now, what is AI ethics? AI ethics refers to the moral principles and guidelines used to design, develop, and deploy AI systems responsibly. Just because AI can do something does not always mean it should, right? AI ethics helps organizations answer important questions like, is this AI system fair? Or does it respect privacy? Or can people trust its decisions? Or who is accountable when something goes wrong? This is a very important question. We talked about in last previous video as well. So who is accountable when something goes wrong? Ethics ensures AI benefits society while minimizing the potential harm, right? So think of AI ethics as the compass that guides AI development in the right direction, right? So next, so why AI ethics matters? So AI is no longer just a technology, right? Today, AI actively influencing decisions that affects people's lives. For example, AI helps doctors to diagnose diseases, or AI assist banks in approving loans, or AI screening job applications, or AI helps schools personalize learning, or AI supporting government in making policy decisions. A mistake in any of these systems can significantly impact individuals and communities, isn't it? So if you see any mistakes, gets impacted on personal lives. That's why ethical AI development is not optional, it's essential. Next, so as AI becomes more powerful, the responsibility to use it correctly becomes even more important, right? So now let's get into the next topic. What is AI bias? So let's understand what is AI bias first. Let's talk about one of these biggest challenges in the AI bias, right? So bias occurs when an AI system produces unfair or discriminatory outcomes. That is called the bias. We learned in previous videos as well. So the bias, so AI learns from the historical data. This is very important, how it is going to be biased. We learned that, we discussed that, so the AI decisions can be based on the patterns, the historical data. Let's take this example. If the data contains a human bias, the AI may learn it and repeat those same patterns, right? In simple terms, let's take it's a bad data. From the bad data, based on the learning, the AI system learned from the biased data, okay? And from the biased learning, so it will give the unfair decisions. So the AI isn't intentionally unfair, right? So in simply learning patterns from the data is received. So it does not mean that the AI intentionally is doing the biased decisions. No, because it learned from the biased data, and that's how it is making the decision based on the patterns, which is biased patterns. Whatever it received the data, and it is giving the biased results. So that's why the data quality is critical when building AI systems, right? So now let's understand real world example, right? So now let's look at the real world example. So imagine a company builds an AI hiring system, right? We discussed about this. Many companies are using the hiring system now. So AI is getting involved in hiring systems, right? So now So if most successful candidates hired historically happen to be men, then AI may incorrectly learn that male candidates are more desirable, right? As a result, qualified female candidates could be ranked lower despite having similar qualifications and experience. Isn't it? So a female candidates may lose the opportunities, right? So the AI isn't making a moral judgment. Okay, it's simply repeating the pattern found in the historical data. So it is not intentionally making the decision, it is making the decision based on the historical data which present based on the historical biased, human biased, gender biased, right? This example shows why organizations must carefully review training data before deploying AI systems, right? Next, let's take one more, the other common source of bias. So the bias can enter AI system in several different ways. First, data bias. What is data bias? We should understand this. This occurs when the historical training data contains unfair patterns. Second, sampling bias. This happens when the training data does not accurately represent the real world population. So third, labeling bias. Human label training data and sometimes their assumptions influences those labels. Fourth, human bias. Developers or analysts or decision making may unintentionally introduce personal bias into the system. Finally, algorithm bias. Certain model designs or features can unintentionally favor some groups over others. Bias can enter any stage of the AI lifecycle. So identifying, reducing the bias is critical for building the trustworthy AI systems. That is very important. And next, what is fairness? Now let's discuss about the fairness. So fairness means ensuring that AI system treat people consistently and equitably, right? AI should evaluate individuals based on relevant information rather than unrelated personal characteristics. A fair AI system should not favor or disadvantage something because of gender, race, religion, age, nationality. Instead, AI should focus only on information that is relevant to the decision being made, isn't it? So now, fairness helps ensuring equal opportunity and equal treatment for everyone. When AI is fair, people are more likely to trust its decisions, right? So now let's understand the fair AI examples. Consider a loan approval system. So we are discussing about the how loan approval system going to be biased in the previous slides. So now let's understand, consider a loan approval system. So a fair AI model should evaluate applicants, right, using relevant financial information such as credit score, income, or employment history. These factors help determine whether an applicant can responsibly repay loan or not. However, a fair AI system should avoid considering attributes such as gender, race, religion. So it should consider the credit score, income, employment, such kind of the factors, but not the gender, race, and religion, right? These characteristics are unrelated to financial responsibility. Fair AI focus on relevant data and avoids discriminatory factors. So this helps create more equitable and trustworthy decisions. Let's understand what is explainability. Next. So explainability refers to the ability of an AI system to explain why it made a particular decision, right? So the people often want answers to questions such as like, why was my loan rejected? So earlier we talked about if the loan rejected, if you are not explainable for why was my loan rejected, then it's a question. And why was my insurance claim denied? Why was the transaction flagged as fraud? Right? So without explanations, users may find it difficult to trust AI system. Right? Explainability makes AI decisions transparent, understandable, and accountable. So simply put, explainability answer the question, why did the AI make this decision? So that's where the explainability called, right? So let's understand what is the black box problem. Many advanced AI models operates like a black box, meaning we can see the input and we can see the output, but we cannot easily understand how the model arrived at its decision. For example, a customer submits the information, the AI processed it, the loan is approved or rejected. But how exactly did the model reach that conclusion? Right? Isn't it? So sometimes the reason remains hidden. So remains hidden. So the challenge is known as black box problem. So the more complex the AI system becomes, the harder it may be to understand internal decision making process, right? So that is where the black box system called. So now let's understand explainable AI examples, how it should be the explainable, right? Let's see how explainable AI resolves this problem. Instead of simply saying loan rejected, so it should say an explainable AI system provides clear reasons, right? If it is provide clear reason, for example, your credit code is below required threshold. So if you provide this statement, explainable statement, then your it will be understandable for the users why my credit code, why my application, the loan application has been rejected. For example, if your debt to income ratio is too high, so if you give this explainable reason, they can understand, okay, this is the reason my loan application has been rejected, right? Or else if you have missed your payments recently, so if you give that explanation, it would be more trustworthy system, so we can trust the AI, right? By providing the understandable explanations, AI becomes more transparent and trustworthy. That's where we can maintain the trustworthy systems. Now, user can better understand decisions and organize can improve the accountability. So if you maintain that explainability, we can achieve this one, right? So how it is perspective, AWS responsible perspective of, right? So now let's understand that AWS strongly promotes responsible AI principle. Like AWS encourages organizations to build the AI system that are fair, transparent, explainable, governed, policy preserving, and AWS helps customers identifying the bias, improve transparency, enable explainability, and establish governance process around AI systems. These principles help organizations build AI responsibly while maintaining the trust with the users, right? So now next one. So the responsible AI is core concept throughout AWS AI services and AWS AI practitioner certification topics, right? Now so we understand what is explainability and trustworthy about this, right? So now let's understand how this topic is going to be covered in the exam point of view. So let's test your understanding. Question: which responsible AI principle focus on hiring users, right? Which responsible AI principles focus on helping users to understand why an AI model produced a specific prediction, right? The answers can be scalability, explainability, availability, automation. So now let's understand this one. So in earlier previous video also we discussed about that. So how we can eliminate, we should understand the question first, what question is there. So we should understand the keywords and then we have to eliminate the answers. If you are understand the answers are difficult, right? So from this question we should understand that it is talking about the so why AI model produces a specific predictions. So the reason always, so it doesn't talk about scalability. The answer A is eliminated, and it doesn't talk about availability. So C is eliminated. It doesn't talk about automation. Automation is perspective of how automating the systems, right? The workflows. So it is not talking about explainability. Is talking about trustworthy system. Why an AI model produces specific prediction. That's where we can explainability, right? So now the answer B is correct. Explainability helps users to understand how AI system arrives at decisions, increasing transparency and trust. So this is a main. So we have seen such patterns in the AWS AI questions, exams, right? So now let's the last point. So we can conclude this one. What are the key takeaways from this list, from this video? So now let's summarize today's learning. AI ethics guides responsible AI development. Bias can create unfair outcomes. Fairness promotes equal treatment and opportunity. Explainability helps users to understand AI decisions. Responsible AI reduces legal, ethical, and reputational risks. And together, these principles helps organizations build trustworthy AI systems that benefit society while minimizing harm. Isn't it? So now, let's conclude. Today, we explored about the AI ethics, bias, fairness, and explainability. So, four essential concepts for the building trustworthy AI systems. Now, as AI becomes more powerful and more widely adapted, ensuring fairness, transparency, accountability, and responsible AI decision making becomes increasingly important, isn't it? Understanding these concepts is valuable not only for the AWS AI practitioner exams, right? But also we should know every AI user. So in the real world, how we are going to be responsible, how we should be responsible for the using the AI, and that's where we should understand the system. So in our next video, we will begin our deep learning journey and answer a fascinating questions, right? So that is your most awaited the video, which is what's a topic, especially that is what is neural network. This is very interesting. How AI is thinks about that. So what is neural network? How AI is correlated? How communicate between this through the neural networks? That's very interesting topic we can learn. We will learn how machine mimics certain aspects of the human brain to recognize the patterns and make intelligent decisions. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to continue your AWS AI practitioner journey. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in next episode.